So as we said before, we will be recording. So thank you. Someone put that in there if we are going to record. Yes. Again, the reason for our recording is because we want to provide this and share it with people who could not attend tonight, because we want there to be a lot of feedback. We actually want your feedback and your input into this project. We want you to love coming home if you are a future occupant of this building. So we do look forward to your feedback. So it will be recorded so that we can share that with others. So this will be a 40-unit project. It will be for those earning between 80 and 100% of AMI. And we asked, well, what does that mean? So we'll say pretty much for those, a family of one, you'd be starting with an income of at or below. So you cannot go above this income of $66,650 at 80% AMI, and not above $83,300 at the 100% AMI. So if you earn below that, you're eligible. If you earn above that, so if you're at 84,000, you make too much money, you cannot live in this project, in this building. So it's designed so that we're capturing people who are usually priced out of the market rate units in the neighborhood. There will be 16 studios, 16 one-bedrooms, 6 two-bedrooms, and 2 three-bedrooms. The developer, in communication and collaboration with the community, made sure that everything was even, right? So it's the same number of units for each income tier. Again, making sure that it's very diverse so that everyone has an opportunity to occupy this space. So we're looking at where are we right now in the process. For the development timeline, right now we're hoping to have the design completion by early spring of this year. So your feedback tonight really helps to guide the final steps and the final phases of the development process. The architects and the design team has put a lot of effort and a lot of hours into what we're presenting to you tonight, but we want your feedback to know what other tweaks we need to make to it. We expect construction to start by summer of this year, and then to engage buyers. Really, for people who are interested, we want to engage you now, so starting in the summer, to prepare you to potentially own one of these units. But for the lottery process, because these are affordable units, that process would begin in the spring of 2022, so next year. And then we have an anticipated project completion by fall of next year. Now we're going to take a look at some of the indoor amenities. When you enter into the space, so into the building, you would enter into the foyer area, and to the, let me see if I can do the little handy dandy pointer. Hold on. Do I see it? Ah, man, I don't see it here. Okay. So you enter in, and to the left, you'll see the bike storage, where each unit will have their own individual bike rack, so that there are 40 units, there are 40 bike racks, so everyone has a space to store their bicycles. You go to the left of the foyer area and you enter the main lobby. In here, we will have the mailboxes located at number 4. And you have a lot of additional seating, in addition to a package room. I think it's important in the day and age of Amazon and delivery and online shopping to have a safe space to place your products, for them to deliver it for you. And then you also have your, it won't go back. The elevator, because this is an elevator building, it is accessible as well. Here we have a rendering of the lobby area. And as you can see in the staircase, there's a lot of beautiful art. What we are envisioning is really trying to engage, and right now we're in communication with some local graphic designers to come up with some art pieces for the space that is representative of Roxbury, historic Roxbury, and things that are important to you. So we would want feedback on what types of art and what types of things you would like to see in this space. Along the wall in the staircase, we're envisioning old maps of Roxbury, so that it's artwork, but it's also history, and we're maintaining the history of Roxbury within the space. We want you to take a look at the color scheme as well. It's a lot of neutral, I want to say earth tones. So taking into account, trying to bring the outdoors into this space as well. For the flooring, it would be engineered hardwood or engineered wood so that it is highly durable. So over the longevity of the building, we want it to look amazing day one and 10 years from now and 20 years from now. So making sure that the development team is choosing the highest quality of products for you. I'm going to take a moment just to look and see if there are any questions. Ooh, I like that feedback. Thank you. So Miss Ina suggested having rotating displays of artwork. So as opposed to fixed art there, that we can have various local artists coming in to provide artwork for the building. Thank you. So this feedback, guys, is kind of what we're hoping for. So while I'm talking, feel free to enter your comments into the chat box because we do pay attention. We do take this all back to the design team. Again, as you see another view, you see the mailboxes, so that will all be interior. You have a lot of seating area so that when your guests are waiting for you to come downstairs, or you're waiting for your Uber or for your party to arrive, you can sit in the lobby area and wait them. There's also a lot of extra space. We're leaving that for you as the occupants or the owners and the association to decide if you want additional seating or anything else in there. And now we're going to launch our first poll. Okay, so we would love to get your feedback on the lobby area thus far. So if you guys think you're super impressed, you like it so far, it's all right, or you don't like it at all, it sucks. And I will say, if you think that it's awful, please provide feedback as to why. And if you say that you like it, if you'd like to provide additional feedback there as well in terms of what you like about the space, would be greatly appreciated. Ooh, I see lots of questions which will be addressed later on in the presentation, so we'll go over it at that time. Okay, so we have, waiting for a few more people. We have 16 people participated and there's 25 of us on this call. Can I have a couple more people? Your feedback is really valued. 5 more seconds. Okay. So far it's kind of 50-50. Half of you said you're really impressed with it. Thank you. And half of you said it's all right. It's not bad. So we appreciate that feedback. And I hope for those of you who said it's all right, if you can take a moment and provide that feedback in the comment section as well, that in the chat box, that would be appreciated so that we can review that with the design team later on. Okay. So now, because this is a condo building, so it's all ownership, but it's one building, right? We try to make sure that you had a community space, and I would say more space beyond your unit for entertaining. If you have a large party, or you're having a large gathering, I should say, then you have an additional space where you can entertain people. So on the second floor or the second level of the building, you have our community amenity space. And that is when you enter, you have your TV lounge area. This is what's being proposed, with seating for your guests surrounding the TV to watch like the Super Bowl last night, with additional tables again for entertaining. Please pay attention to the color palette because we're trying to, again, keep it with more earth tones that are durable and kind of will last over time. as residents, if you guys want to change it within, a few years, that's something you can propose to the association. But really, these are the colors that they wanted to kind of bring the outside into this space. You will have a restroom on this level so that guests don't have to go upstairs into your unit to use the restroom. And then there will be 2 work pods. And this was because, again, given the pandemic and what we're going through right now, giving people an opportunity to work outside of their home, even though they're working from home, so that they can have a change of scenery, hopefully be a little bit more productive in a new environment. And also, if you are an entrepreneur, you can host meetings in this space as well, so they don't have to go to your space, your living quarters. There will also be a kitchenette area to the rear, which opens out into the exterior amenity space that we will discuss later on. And that is designed so that you can have larger gatherings over meals. So if you wanted to have a birthday party or anything like that, you have the space, you have the additional dining and seating area, which will have the refrigerator and the warming stations for your guest and for you to entertain. And then also having a wellness space for you as well. Here is a rendering of what the space would look like. So again, it's combining your lounge area with your dining area. So if you're having a large gathering, the spaces can be combined and they can feel like one for entertaining your guests, and they have different stations they can go to. Or if there are multiple residents entertaining, you each can have kind of your own space to utilize. I'm going to take a moment and go back and read some of the chat questions. So I see questions on if there will be real plants. I think that would be up to the discretion of the association and how you guys want to manage that, because someone will have to water the plants and commit to that, else they will not be living for too long. So we'd have to figure out who would be responsible for kind of overseeing that. Um, for how the amenity space will be reserved, that again would be, we're still working on the kind of the condo rules and regulations, but it would be something that we would leave for the association to kind of determine how best they want to manage that. There will be an, hold on one moment. There will be a property management company overseeing the entire site. So we will be coordinating with them, kind of based on your feedback from our last focus group. We've had a few of these. Something that people wanted was to have reservation, and a few other features that we'll discuss later on. So we are taking all of your questions here and taking it back to the people who are going to be part of the decision making for kind of what this space should look like and what we must have in it.
Denisha, I'm just going to jump in. Angelina had a question on, hi everyone, I'm Dariella Villonmaga. I offer development services and project management services for Oxbow Urban on this project. And I just wanted to answer Angelina's question in terms of diversity numbers. We're still in the process of developing our team. There's some places where we definitely feel like we can improve in. Myself and Denise are on the project. The project management company will be UHM, who is a Black-owned company. Our hope is to engage some local graphic artists we're doing right now, some folks of color in the community as well. And we're also going out to bid for general contractor and are hoping to have some GCs of color also participate in the bidding process. So I know that for both the developer and myself, it's super important for us to make sure that folks of color and in the close proximity to the project get an opportunity to participate in different facets of the project.
And I see here Shan also, thank you, Dariella. And I see Shan ask about why we only had 2 work pods. It's really trying to maximize the space because it's not a very large space. So just giving people options in terms of where they can work throughout the building. Because if it's not busy during the day, you can be in the common area, or in the actual working pod.
Quarisha asked about washer and dryers. We'll get in units. We'll get into those a little later in the presentation, so you'll get a chance to see where those are. Um, hmm, other ones. The alternate accessibility plan. So if the elevator's out, per code, we have to have stairwells. So there'll be alternate stairwells that folks can take. Additionally, the amenity space, because the site is at grade, the amenity space will also be a way that you can get into the building from the rear of the building as well.
So we don't have renderings to show you, but when you enter the building from the front, that is actually, if you were to walk straight through and try to go to the back, you would hit a rock. Because it's a very hilly area, so there's a lot of ledge. So you would, from the first floor, in normal circumstance, I guess you would say it's like a basement almost, but you have access to kind of the street, the frontage. So then to be in at grade where someone can have access would also be coming in on the second level, which is where the amenity space is, and that would be connected to the above ground parking, which we'll get to later on as well. The final amenity space here is our wellness room, and this is kind of multifunctional. In mind right now, it's more for people to have yoga or Zumba sessions, more of flexible space, wellness space for you. And then it would be up to the association if you wanted to add more things to this space. You can do that at a later date, but just providing this the space for you so that you can customize it as an association later on. We have a poll for this right now. 1 second. So if you guys can take some time just to provide feedback on the community space thus far. So we have the lounge area, you have the kitchenette, you have the working pods, and then you have the wellness area. And if you are at it's okay and not my cup of tea, if you can provide that feedback in the comment section in the chat box, that would be helpful to us as well, just so we better understand kind of really what your thoughts are or what you would prefer to see in this space. Okay, 5 more seconds. Okay, so we have 63% of you said you're very impressed with the space thus far. 26% said it's all right. And then 11% of you said, not your cup of tea. I want to know, please, for the two of you, if you want to do it in a private chat, what are kind of your feedback as to what you don't like about the space? Because again, we do value your feedback to know how we can improve, if anything, for the project. Did it just go back? Okay, so now we need your feedback. Which feature do you like the most? And which feature do you like the least of what we've proposed thus far? So do you prefer, like, of all of the things in the amenity space in the community room, do you prefer, or the pods, the work pods, having that lounge or seating area, the kitchenette area, or having that flexible workout space? So which one of those is your most favorite and which one is your least? In terms of, if you envisioned yourself living here, what would you use all the time, or you'll see yourself maximizing, and which one you said, I will never use this ever? Okay, 10 more seconds. So you want to know which feature you love the most and which ones you like the least. So you don't think you'll use it, not valuable to you. I do see the comment on there needing to be dividers. We will take that to the design team. I think there might be something programmed in there, but I'm not too sure. So we will take that into consideration as well. Okay. So most of you, the feature you like the most is actually the flexible workout space. That's nice. And then having that lounge area so that you guys can watch the game and entertain with your guest. And you like the least, really? You guys didn't like the kitchenette? I thought that was like a slam dunk. Okay, so we have the kitchenette and the lounge area, two spaces that 42% of you like the least, and 37% of you didn't like that. So for those of you who said the lounge, you didn't like the lounge or the kitchenette, if you could provide feedback in the chat as to why you don't like those features, I would really be interested in knowing more. Okay, so the TV lounge feels excessive, so it feels large. Okay, understood. I think the goal there was if you're having a larger gathering in your unit, maybe you don't want to have it in your unit. You want to be able to have more seating and have, kind of that kitchenette area so you can entertain and not be in your space per se. I see here you prefer having the building sit back from the main street. I will say part of that is maximizing, really trying to maximize the space. Next, we're going to discuss the outdoor amenity area. If the building were pushed back, you wouldn't have the ability to do that. And also, we discussed that there's a lot of ledge or rock on this site. So there'd be a lot of cutting back into that rock to provide that inset, which is code for really, really expensive and wouldn't make it too affordable at that point. Okay. So now we're going to go into the outdoor space. Someone asked about that earlier. So at the bottom here, you see you have the kitchenette and the wellness room, which they exit into our outdoor entertaining space or our outdoor amenities, where we would have an outdoor lounge. So that again, more and more space for entertaining in the warmer months, we'll say. You have your outdoor dining space, and then you have a play lawn area for kids entertaining. Or but if you have kids that you're entertaining, if you look to the right, you can see some examples of what that could look like for this project. Um, Something that we have, if you see to the left in the outdoor space, there is a yellow line. And actually, I will discuss that later. One second, because I want to get a better view. Different rendering. Here we go. So here is a nice rendering where you can see really what the vision is for the space. So to the right, where you see the lounge, when you exit the dining or the kitchenette area, that wall, they're proposing having a projector screen. So if you wanted to watch TV or an event or anything on the big screen, you have that as an option for your outdoor entertainment, as evidenced by the third image on the left. So you can see kind of what the vision was for that. If that's something that's important, or you think that that's a nice amenity to have when you're entertaining, and then providing a lot of seating area for you. And in the last focus group, which was not part of one of our questions, but quite a few people brought up having a garden, a community garden. So the developer went back and really found that space where you can have a garden bed so that people who do want to garden have that space. You can see it's in the renderings, but the top left photo give you an idea of what that could possibly look like. You see, again, we have some of the above ground parking, which connects directly to our outdoor amenity space, and you can connect to the indoor space to get to the building. There are 21 spaces above ground, and then there are 20 spaces below ground in the garage. So we have 40 parking spaces for this. Each unit gets its own dedicated parking space or deeded parking space, so that again, it's not where one unit has two, someone else has none. Everyone has their own parking space for this project, because we did, from speaking with the community, BPDA and the city said we didn't need to have one-to-one parking, but from the community, it was unanimous that we needed to have parking because that is an issue for this site. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to accommodate that for the residents of the community and for those who live in this project. It is also a pet-friendly site or project. So again, people, they're not limited, they can have pets. We provided a dog waste station, which is to the top right of the rendering, so that people can, again, clean up after themselves or after their pets, to make sure that the area is safe and clean for all. We have a lot of natural greenery out there, and really trying to connect the space with the outdoors and the surrounding area. Behind the site, there will be trees. So we're not tearing down all of the trees. So there will be a divide so that people will have privacy, so that others aren't seeing you from the rear, kind of what you're doing while you're entertaining. And I'm taking a moment just to read feedback. And while I'm doing that, we will launch the other poll. So of what we discussed for the outdoor amenity space, please let us know what's the most valuable feature and what's the least valuable feature. So which one you love the most and you think you will use, and which one you're like, this, I will never use this. I don't care. So we would love your feedback for both of those as well. I see Miss Angelina said that it's nice, but one-to-one parking is essential, and the investment to set it back properly should be reconsidered. Um, so that again, that is in the consideration to ensure that we do have one-to-one parking. Again, that would affect, it changes everything, right? So in order to maximize on the space to have that one-to-one parking, there were a lot of things that needed to be reconsidered in the project. So we're not discussing a lot of it tonight because that was in pretty much the 2 years of community outreach that we've done before, but there was a lot of kind of what are the things that we have to take away from the project to ensure the things that the community said that they needed and where it was important was in this project, to make sure that everyone would love it, not only the residents, but also their neighbors and the abutters. Okay, so now let's see what you guys like and what you don't. So we have a tie for the seating area and the raised garden bed. That, see, we missed that the first time around because we did not have that as an option. And a few people said they would like to have that herb garden and the raised beds. So now we see that is really important. So thank you guys for that feedback and confirming for us. Um, and then people like the kids play area. Only one person liked the projector screen, which is, thank you for that feedback. And your least favorite was the raised garden bed. So some of you said, I don't really really care for it. It's not that big of a deal to me. And then also the projector screen. Yep, we agree that there are quite a few playgrounds close by. We wanted to, again, this was from feedback from the last focus group, and at the end we'll have an opportunity for everyone to kind of speak and give additional feedback. But this was kind of something that, well, what could we utilize that space for? If I could challenge or make a request, would be, if not the play area for the kids, what would you like to see in that space instead of that? So if you can put that suggestion in the comment section, would be really helpful. So here's a look at it again. So we have that little kids play area. If that were to go away, what would be there? What would we replace that with? So now, thank you guys for your feedback on our amenity space so far and kind of the lobby area of the building. Now we get to start going into the units and into the hallways and see kind of what that design looks like. Ah, am I going backwards? There we go. So again, trying to stick with more of the earth tones and inserting some pops of color. You guys see the art right now, kind of just asymmetric designs in there. We again would like to have that be from local artists and from the graphic designer, bringing in the history and the richness of Roxbury into this space. So something that we do have proposed that we would like would be kind of art on the walls as opposed to these drawings. Again, for some pops of color, we have that in the carpet and still making sure that it is durable and long lasting over a kind of long term so that you guys can enjoy the space. I see the comment on the garden bed. Thank you so much. So here is another view of the hallway. Again, trying to have those earth tones in there with the pops of color. And we'll see kind of from your feedback. I think I've heard from quite a few people, you agree with having the local graphic designer, but also having someone suggested local artists and featuring their artwork on there. So that was pretty interesting. Thank you for that feedback as well. And we will do the poll for your thoughts on, oh, we don't have that one. So what do you guys think of the hallway? I don't have that poll question here, but if you can put it in the comment section or in the chat box, what do you think of the corridor in the hallway? Like it, don't like it? What do you think of our ideas, which is really from you guys, just now saying, yes, you love having the idea of more artwork from local graphic designers and artists kind of displayed throughout the project. Something that someone else had said who could not attend was perhaps having each floor have a theme to go along with something with the history of Roxbury. Okay, so now we're getting into the units. Again, trying to choose more soft earth tones, neutral color palettes, because the idea is we wanted, as opposed to bringing bright colors into the space, which I think is the trend right now with a lot of developers, like having colorful accent walls, or the cabinets and stuff being colorful. We want you guys to customize that so we can give you kind of like a quality blank canvas that is perfect just the way it is. But if you need to insert your personality more in there, you have the opportunity to. 1 second. Multitasking with the little one, so thank you for your patience there. Okay, so now we're going to look at the first unit. So as we said, these are a combination of mostly studios and one bedrooms with a couple 2s and 3-bedroom units. So as you enter into the Studio Plus, you have your, I like to say, your foyer slash like your mudroom area, so that you can kind of offload everything from the outside and from your day right there at the door. So you can go into your sanctuary, how I look at it and how I enter my home. So to the left, to the right, you'll have your coat closet and your mechanical closet. So kind of your heating system, your hot water tank, that would be in unit. And then to the left, you'd have your restroom. As you go further down, you would have your linen closet, your extra storage, your washer and dryer. There will be in unit stackable washer and dryer. And then this is called a Studio Plus, which is different from a studio because, as we know, a studio is your kitchen, is your living room, is your dining room, is your bedroom, typically. The developer was really conscious of that and did not like that, and went into great detail to make sure that there was a sense of privacy, so that you can have just some secure sleeping quarters, so to speak. So you had an isolated sleeping area. So there will be a wall, but it's not completely enclosing, and there would be a sliding door so that you have some more privacy. What makes it different, so it's not a bedroom, is that one, you don't have a window in there, and you also don't have closets because your closet would actually be outside of that sleeping area. As you go further in, you have your kitchen, living room, dining room space that you can kind of customize and rearrange how you see fit. Really cool idea that we saw in doing research and trying to figure out how to maximize the space is really Murphy beds, which I love them. I think they're so clever. Where a potential option would be having the Murphy bed in that sleeping quarters, so to speak, or your separate, your private room. And then it can be double as your office in the day. So you have the bed up in the daytime, and then at night, you pull it down so you have your sleeping quarters. So you transform that space at night, but during the day, you can have it function as your office, your at home office. Here in this image, you see how they have kind of the sofa. It's kind of built in and connects with the Murphy bed so that it folds down over it easily. So it just becomes a bed and you can't even feel the transition, which I thought was amazing. If you don't like it in your room, you could also consider maybe having that in the living room area, because if you have guests and you're trying to maximize on space, that's another option as well. I like to think of it as a multifunctional space and maximizing kind of all that you can do. So for the studio, we have kind of the typical layout for the kitchen. So you will have, again, your stainless steel appliances. You will have the dishwasher, microwave, stove, and your refrigerator. So you'll have everything that you need. There, we have an image of an island there. This would be kind of a portable, movable island that you can purchase on your own. It will not be included, but just trying to show you some design options on how you can create extra space if you think you need it. One second. And I think what I didn't have in here, but I want you guys to take a moment to answer for the bedroom, which will be for all bedrooms. I'm discussing it with the studio because I think that's more immediate in terms of like the space. Would you prefer in your bedroom to have the hardwood floors or the engineered flooring, or if you prefer to have carpet? Some people would like to wake up to the carpet, the warmth of the carpet, while others are like, nope, I need this wood throughout the house. I could put a rug. So, and it looks like it's a unanimous decision on, nope, one person. So we'll say near unanimous that people would prefer to have the engineered hardwood, and that is throughout the space. In the common area and the rest of the unit would be this engineered hardwood. We were just asking in terms of the bedroom if you would want to have carpet or not. And it looks like it's pretty unanimous that everyone would prefer to have the hardwood. Thank you for that. That was easy. Okay, so I'll show you guys that. Okay, so now we are into the one bedroom unit. And again, you're going to walk in and you have this foyer area slash mudroom. So you can just offload your day at the door. My rule in my house, no shoes in the house. So all that gets left at the door and you have a space to store all of it. You would have your linen slash storage closet right there as soon as you enter with your stackable washer and dryer. So again, trying to maximize on your storage space throughout the unit, in addition to your coat closet. And they also had here kind of if you have any additional things or a cart, a shopping cart, you can store that at the entrance as well. When you enter into your unit, you enter through the kitchen and then it's an open concept floor plan. So you can see straight through to your dining room and then to your living room. And there's a lot of natural light. So we didn't want to have a lot of walls up there, just so we can maximize on that natural light coming into the space. Each of the units for the ones, twos, and threes will have this island. Again, so you have some more additional seating and more counter space for your home. And for the one bedroom, you will have a nice walk-in closet. I think I haven't seen anyone ask. So the size for the one bedroom, what do you guys think it's going to be around? And even for the Studio Plus. Nice. You're really close, Shan. So we're at about 775. So just under 800 square feet for the one bedroom, which I think is really great because there are two bedroom units that are that size. So you have pretty decent space to live and not feel so cramped. PT is for your pantry. How many units on? They will be kind of scattered throughout. I don't have the exact floor plan. I'm not sure, Dariella, do you have that in terms of each floor? What's the breakdown for the units?
I do. Can we? I'll
Save
just.
it for the end.
I'll come up with it.
Yep, cool, thank you. So for the countertops, again, these colors, this is the color scheme and the color palette that we're going with, very neutral so that you can customize that later on. The quality of the countertop, that was something that we discussed in one of the focus groups before. A lot of the affordable homes, for those of you who have seen them or been in a lottery before with the city, they're usually that laminate countertop. These will actually be a solid surface, which looks very similar to granite. So it's a solid countertop that you know should last, will be highly durable, great quality, and not the laminate that kind of chips and peels over time. They chose a light color palette again so that you're maximizing on the sunlight into the space so it doesn't feel so dark. It feels more open because it's a lot of light colors in there, and you can insert your pops of color. And now we're going to take a look at the two bedroom unit. So as you enter, we'll always have that foyer area. You have one bedroom to the front of the building, or to the front of your unit as you enter. And then when you go in, you're entering into pretty much your entertainment space. You have your living room, dining room, kitchen as you enter. And then to the left and to the rear, you would have your master bedroom with your master closet. And it would be a shared bathroom for both bedrooms. Again, each unit will have in-unit washer and dryer. Here, imagine it being flip-flopped. It says PT, TC, FR in the kitchen. So that's pantry, tall cabinet, and fridge. The tall cabinet is where you would put, let's say, your vacuum or your broom and all of those other items. We would move that away from the fridge so we kind of make it coordinate. So um, imagine that being flip-flopped right there. But again, trying to maximize the space and making sure that the master suite, they feel like they have a master. It's a bigger room, and they have the walk-in closet as well. And for the 2 bedrooms, they come in at around just over 1,000 square feet. And now we're going to look at the bathroom for kind of all of the units. And this would be trying to include in the vanity. You have as much storage as we can find in terms of the selection of the vanity type. And then the question for you, or the polling question, would be, one second, if you guys prefer ceramic tile or the tub surround. So kind of the one piece install in the bathroom. So if the having that ceramic tile is something that you say, yep, you prefer to have that versus the tub surround. Okay, I think most people are saying they would prefer the ceramic tile. Thank you so much for your feedback there. I'm seeing my participation dropping off, and my feelings are getting hurt because there are only 14 people, like half of you have responded. Please, we do want you to participate. We want this to be interactive because we want your feedback and we value it. So please take a moment just to comment. Okay, so 80% of you said that you prefer the ceramic tile. So thank you for that feedback. And now let's take a look at the 3-bedroom unit, which is just under 1,600 square feet. It's at around 1,570. So pretty decent size for a 3-bedroom. It's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit. So as you enter, you have kind of your mechanical room, your coat closet, and some additional storage area. You'll walk into where you have your living room, dining room, kitchen. And then to the right of your unit will be kind of all of your bedrooms. So we have 2 bedrooms would share the common bathroom. And then for the master suite, you'd enter through the main door and you have your bedroom, your walk-in closet, and the master bath. And again, please remember that all units have in-unit washer and dryer. And you'll also have additional linen or storage space in your washroom there as well. And before I forget, let me see. We've just gone over all of the bedroom and the unit types. Looking at them and the amenities in each one, what do you guys think in terms of what's your most important feature, something that's really important to you, and which one is least important in terms of features? So the kitchen countertop material that you choose, the appliances in terms of the size, and then having in-unit washer and dryer, the flooring material, or even the bathroom finishes. So we did the polls on what you wanted with each of these, but now it's kind of what's most important if when the developer is looking at these, like to make sure this is like the best. Understand the feedback in terms of the dimensions, and then the kind of having to see it as well. For the bedrooms, for most of them, I think they fit a queen size bed, right, Dariella, with the furnishings?
Yeah, for the master bedrooms, they're big enough to fit a king California bed. But for the other bedrooms, you'd be more comfortable with a full, but you could get a queen in there.
Okay. So you guys said in terms of most important is the appliances and making sure you have a decent sized refrigerator and then in-unit washer and dryer, which was almost unanimous. And then we have the bathroom finishes as not being that important to you, everything else being a little bit more important. Thank you guys for your feedback. We appreciate it. And now I think why everyone is here is trying to figure out what are the sales prices in this project? What does it look like? So given the kind of what we presented in terms of the amenity space, the quality of the finishes that you'll have, the unit sizes, the unit layouts, we want your feedback in terms of were we on target in terms of the pricing, and if you think the pricing is appropriate. Understanding that we have gone back and forth with the community, with city and state officials, really trying to make sure that these units are kind of within the price range that represents Roxbury, which we will discuss later on as well. So for the studio unit, here we have our projected sales prices. I have tier 1 and tier 2. Always think of it as 80% and 100% of AMI. So those are the two tiers. For all of these, there's no bidding war. It's a lottery. So you get selected for these units and you decide whether you want them or not. The sales prices are set. So it's not where you pick the unit on the 4th floor, you pay a premium, you pick the unit on the 1st floor, there's a different price. It's a set price throughout the building. Everyone is paying the exact same price for the building or for their unit. So it's between $174,000 and $200,000 for the Studio Plus unit. Area comps or comparables come in at about $180,000 to $375,000 right now in Roxbury. And taking into account at that 180, that's a unit that needs to be updated and modernized. So it's not a new construction building or unit at that price. When we look at monthly housing costs, that is taking into account your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your condo fees, and your water. So in your condo fees, you have water included in there and kind of building maintenance and all of that. So your cost would be your housing cost and then your one utility bill, which would be your electric bill because everything is electric in this building. And an eyelash just came out. Whew. Okay. So for the prices, we are looking at all in costs just under $1,300 to $1,600 for your Studio Plus. Area comps come in at between $1,700 and $2,000 for if you were to rent one of these. So if you guys can take a moment and provide feedback on if the pricing is just right or too high, let us know what you think about our pricing. And again, right now, all of our comps are based on sales in the past 6 months because that's what appraisers look for. Understanding that the market has kind of slowed down a bit and there are quite a few units that are still on market at higher prices. We just don't know what they sold for. But these are properties that have already sold and we're able to kind of compare them and see what they look like. Okay. So we have 56% of you saying that the price is just right, and 44% of you saying it's a little bit too high. So thank you for that feedback. Thank you. I know some of you have to leave because there are quite a few meetings going on in Roxbury tonight. I thank you so much. We will share this so that if you want to kind of watch the end of it and provide feedback, we would greatly appreciate it. Okay, for the one bedroom, our tier or our pricing is between 197,000 to 260,000. And area comp. So if you were to buy a market rate unit, you'd be looking at between 180 and $375,000 for the units. When we do the math, that works out to be between the 1449 and 1979 for these units, with area rents coming in at $17 to $2,000 for them. And actually, I don't have it on me right here. Your numbers would be a little bit less in terms of your housing cost. I tend to always look more not at the sales price, but at the how much is it going to cost me to actually live here every month, because that's what I care about. And these numbers would be even less because there are different, depending on the mortgage product that you utilize. The city of Boston, we'll talk about that later, but they have a program where they're giving you up to $50,000 towards the purchase of a home. So that reduces kind of what your monthly housing cost would be. So it would be potentially less than this because you wouldn't have PMI and other additional costs with different loan products associated with these. The developer also was proactive and used a much higher interest rate when calculating the kind of your monthly cost compared to what interest rates are currently. For these, do you guys think it's just right or too high in terms of pricing for the one bedroom? So these are prices with him kind of being really conservative and assuming the market shoots back up within the next year to kind of pre-COVID numbers, pre-COVID numbers. And if you didn't have one of the best loan products out there, what that cost would be, because we don't want people to get kind of sticker shock. 3 more seconds. Okay, so we are at, oops, I don't know what just happened. So we are at 63% of you said it's just right, with 38% of you saying it is too high. Thank you for your feedback. Now we're looking at the 2 bedroom units, which would range from about 259 to 333. Area comps, as we know for Roxbury, 2 bedrooms are 450 and up. I've seen things that are listed right now that are $500,000. They just haven't closed yet, so I don't know what they sold for. But what has sold is between 450 and 475, and these numbers are based on comparable units where they were actually new construction, to compare to this project. The monthly housing cost would be between $1,800 and $2,400, and area rents are about $2,000 to $2,300 right now. Taking into account again that he has been super conservative and kind of built in additional costs into that as well. So now let's look at the 2 bedroom cost. If you guys think for the 2 bedroom, the pricing is just right or too high. Can you see it? Wait. Okay. So we'll end in now. So 69% of you said the price is just right, with 31% of you saying it is too high. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'm going to take a look back here at the comments because I have not been looking at the comments. Hold on. Do goals to sell these units? That's So we will discuss that a little bit later. I do have kind of, there are a lot of options in terms of opportunities for people to purchase. And now for the 3 bedroom, the sales prices would be between $299 and $384. Area comps are, I would say, at a minimum 590 at this point. And even the 605, that's kind of what's been sold, that we can have access to an MLS, but it ranges in terms of the sales prices for the area in terms of condos, of 3 bedroom condos. Your housing cost would be about $2,000 to $2,700. And area rents are between 27 and 3,200 for units of similar quality and size. Again, I always want to remind you guys, even with these numbers for monthly costs, this is the developer building in a higher interest rate. Right now, with the City of Boston program, we've helped clients purchase with a 1.375 interest rate. That's kind of what's happening right now. And he has it pretty much more than twice that number in terms of interest rate. So these are, compared to kind of what's going on, a little bit higher numbers. So we're going to ask again your thoughts on if the prices are too high or just right. Okay, so I see here if someone makes 95,000 and they wanted to buy the studio, studios are about $375,000, so Studio Plus. They don't really have a lot of Studio Pluses in Roxbury, or we'll say it's like a 1 bedroom. Those are about 375,000, whereas ours is 201. So your housing cost, the difference there for market rate versus an affordable is you're paying $1,300 all in, or you're paying $2,000 market rate. So here we have 64% of you saying it is just right, and 36% of you saying it is too high. Thank you so much for your feedback there. Yes. So I see here in terms of the pricing. So the prices, that's the price. The cost would be potentially less for buyers because with the assistance from the city, that means to the buyer, their monthly housing cost is reduced. Even though the sales price is the same, how much they pay on a monthly basis can be drastically different across the different buyers of the unit because it depends on their buyer profile and how much assistance they get from the city and other programs combined. So what is the timeline for this project? So we are, oh, did I not do it? Yes, we did. Okay, there we go. The poll was still there. So right now, come summer, we will actually start the community buyer prep process. So we're not going to wait. What I've seen with developments time and time again, the neighborhood and the community gets interested in buying when the building is kind of finished and it looks pretty on the outside. And some of them, when they see the for sale sign, it's really too late at that point if you don't have all your ducks in a row to purchase. So what we're doing is really putting together kind of a buyer prep program so that residents of the community, and we will be reaching out to the neighborhood associations and all of the local residents to see who would be interested in this project so that we can help you repair your credit if it needs to be at, we know what the numbers need to be, if you need to save, if whatever we need to do so that you can be a quality or the ideal buyer where a lender says, I want to lend you the money to purchase this, we can get you in the door for that. For this project, the reason why we keep saying, it's for Roxbury residents, 70% of this building, or 28 of the 40 units, has what's called a neighborhood preference, so that there is a preference in the lottery for residents of this neighborhood. The only way that preference matters, and we can actually have 70% of the units occupied by people of Roxbury, people of this neighborhood, is if they enter the lottery. So our goal is to prepare as many people from the neighborhood to purchase so that you can stay in the neighborhood. So we'll begin that process this summer, so that people have at least a year to get prepared for this opportunity. Come early spring of 2022, we'll have the pre-approval process. So before that, we just want you to get prepared. We'll let you know when you should apply for your pre-approval so that we can time it, because we've been paying attention to the city program in terms of their timeline to really stay on par with it and what they offer. By late spring of 2022, we would have the lottery. And it's pretty much you apply, you submit your application, it goes to the city, and they, like a lottery, draw names and numbers, and kind of let you know where you stand in the lottery. And you decide if you want to move forward or not. Um, After you do that process, by summer of next year, you would sign a purchase and sales agreement in which, again, that's more of you saying, I don't want to look anywhere else. I love this space. This is where I want to live. Sign me up. It's a more concrete contract, essentially. And then by the winter, really by the fall of 2022, you should be a homeowner with keys in hand if there are no delays and snowstorms that delay anything. So something that we do want to ask you guys is really, we have about a 6-month window from the purchase and sales to the when you close on the house. Typically, that's like a 2-month process. We have it as 6 months. And that's taking into account right now with the city program, it takes about, from what's closed so far, 3.5, maybe even 4 months to kind of get through their process. So we understand kind of that window of 6 months gives us enough time to work through all of that with the city. We want to know if that 6-month window for you to own from the time you make that commitment to the time you purchase, if that's enough time for you, you think it will work, you'll wait. If it's too much time, or if it's like, you know what, this whole thing is a little bit much for me and I don't even want it. I don't want to think about it. So if you can take a moment just to let us know your feedback in terms of that timeline. We have about a 6-month window there to really from purchase and sales to when you become a homeowner. In that time, the city is doing all of their kind of the underwriting, as they call it, to make sure that financially you can afford this home. The lender's doing the same thing. And then what we'll be doing is working with you to ensure that your credit stays where it needs to be or is higher, and that you have all of your ducks in a row to ensure that you can close on this property. If we can get your interest rate higher, that helps you, right? So the goal is, again, how can we maximize on these things for you during this time? So 75% of you said you love it and you would wait. Thank you so much for that feedback. 8% of you said, I love it, but 6 months is a long commitment. I don't know. And 17% of you said, it is too long. I'm going to keep looking elsewhere. Um, I would say for a lottery, what I encourage people to do with lottery homes and affordable homes, even if you're looking to purchase anywhere else, the lottery is a lottery, right? You don't get to choose or put in an offer and hope that it gets accepted. It's either they pick you or they don't. So apply, get all your documents in, and keep looking. And see what happens. If this opportunity comes up and you really love it, then you go with it. If your name isn't called, you're still prepared to purchase a home in either event. So I'm going to take a moment to go back.
So Denisha, we had some questions.
Yep.
Angelina, who is teaching the financial literacy and planning process?
Yes. So it will be myself in partnership with Thumbprint Realty. And then we will be connecting with either Urban Edge or Financial Education Associates for the actual homebuyer class. So there are two different types of classes. For the homebuyer certificate program, you need to take that 8-hour course to get the certificate to give to the city so that they say, yep, you're educated on how to buy a home and you qualify to get all of our down payment assistance. Our program that we're doing kind of as a development team is now to prepare you, the buyer, to be a strong buyer for the lender. So what do you need your credit to be? What do we need your savings to be? Kind of making sure we have a strong buyer profile for you. And it's more individual. So we're going to be checking in with you, following up, giving you assignments to make sure you stay on track, to own a home.
Another Another question from Catherine is sort of clarifying, need more explanation about the subsidies and how we came to these prices. So I think I can take this one. So we have both city and state funds in the project. Um, those also sort of drive the neighborhood preference. The neighborhood preference is a city pilot, which we are totally on board with, and that'll actually be set in stone when we close for construction this summer. But we, as a team, see no issue with that. We want to maximize the opportunities going to folks in Roxbury for sure. And the subsidies also drive somewhat the sales prices because they correspond to these AMI restrictions. So we have a little flexibility, but not much. There is sort of a window in terms of, how high we can price the units per bedroom size. And I think we had another question about what's the minimum credit score
Yep.
for competitive
So
financing.
you need to have at least a 640 credit score. So beyond that, it doesn't really help you, depending on the loan product that you use. If you use in partnership with the city program, once you qualify for that at the 640, you're getting the best interest rate. So you're at that currently 1.375% interest rate. We don't know what it will be in the future, but right now it's around there. Um, you you just need that 640, and at 700 it's just to make you feel great, which is you should have as high as possible, but you need that minimum of the 640 to qualify. What we will be doing is to ensure that you maintain that, or we get you as high as possible, because with the home buying process, the loan process, when that lender pulls your credit, your score will drop, and they will pull your credit again throughout this process. So we want to make sure we can get you as high as possible so that when they do that, you still qualify for this project, and your credit doesn't drop too low.
Right. And
Um,
then there was another question. Oh, I think
the
Angelina
28-unit
had a
preference.
question about the higher rate is not better for the owner. You're correct. I think Denisha meant your credit score. The
Credit score.
higher
Yep.
the
Credit score. The higher your credit score, the
Mhm.
better your interest rate. So the higher your credit score, the lower your interest rate. For the owner, so the developer, it's already set. For the person who would be owning or purchasing the property, they want the lowest interest rate as possible. So that's where we're looking at all of the different down payment assistance programs and all of the loan products available, so that we can connect them to those resources so that they maximize on how much money they can get from all of these different pools to make it affordable for them.
Yeah, and I think for us, just to go back to the sales prices, we do have sort of this ceiling that we cannot surpass. But our pricing right now is not at that ceiling per the AMI. So for some of the units, for most of the units at 80%, we're actually pricing them below 70% of AMI. So we understand there is the ceiling, but our goal is to try to keep it as affordable as possible and not necessarily having to reach that ceiling. But that ceiling does exist, and you're right, Angelina, in terms of the MSA rates and how they warp our numbers in Roxbury. So we've tried internally to make them lower than what those ceilings are, because we are conscious of that. But we still, there is still the need to be able to afford to build it. So we're always sort of battling. We're always in that seesaw. So I just wanted folks to know that. And the same thing for the 100% AMI units. We're actually pricing them below 90% of AMI. And our goal is to try to keep your monthly costs in line with what Section 8 rents are. That's sort of been a metric that we've been using to ensure that we're sort of on target. We'll continue to try to make them as affordable as we can. But to go back to one other question in terms of the sales prices and when they're locked in, the sales prices will be locked in when we close for construction this summer. Once we close for construction, those are the prices that we have to utilize at the end of like when the project is complete.
So if the neighborhood becomes $1 million for a condo, the developer doesn't get to change the prices to reflect that. The prices will be locked in, from once they close over the summer. Let's see, the 28 unit preference, that is a city goal. That's what they have set out, where for this project, we can have up to a 70% neighborhood preference. The only way that doesn't happen is if we don't have 70% of the people in the pool from the community. So that's where we're going to be kind of knocking on doors. I'll say, like, doing a lot of emails and social media because social distancing, but really trying to get as many people from the community to understand what this project is and the importance of them really getting in a position to buy. Because it doesn't matter if you want to own, if you're not putting in the kind of what we need to do to get a lender to say, yes, I want to lend you money, it doesn't help. So I believe it was Miss Catherine asked earlier, kind of what are the different programs. So within this project, you have, for the city of Boston, they have up to $50,000 to help you purchase, which would be a combination of down payment assistance and closing cost assistance, and also buying down the interest rate on the property. Mass Housing also has their own loan product that provides down payment assistance to buyers as well. There are additional funds out there that are 0% interest loans, and some are grants to buyers to help them with down payment assistance. These change throughout the year. So as we get closer, we'll kind of help people identify which ones they qualify for outside of the city of Boston and mass housing programs. Those are set. In addition, if people have a Section 8 voucher, they can purchase a home. Not many people know that, but they can utilize their voucher to purchase a home. And we want to help people just be knowledgeable about that and get them to a position where they can buy. There is a process for that. So if you know anyone who is interested, we would need to speak with them as soon as possible, just so that we can make sure they have everything that they need and we have the proper plan in place for them so that they can go to their what is the word, so that they can go to BHA or MBHP to really get the process rolling so that they can purchase in this project. So it is possible for someone with a Section 8 voucher to purchase in this project.
Right. And I think, Daisha, we should go to the next slide because I think folks are asking, that they would like to apply. And I just want to make sure folks get the opportunity to get our contact info too, which will
Yep.
come later.
Okay. Yep.
And I just want to touch on Corisha. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I apologize. Miss Braxton. In terms of how many units are going to be on each floor, we're going to have about 10 to 11 units per floor. It's a mix of units, so there'll be ones, two studios, and it's also a mix of AMIs. So there'll be 80 and 100%. It'll be a mix of all the different types. So we won't have sort of segregated, like all the studios on one floor, all the one, it's going to be a mix of all the units, of all different unit types and AMIs on each floor.
Perfect. Thank you. So next, kind of who is the buyer? We actually would like, I think we, as just kind of planning, we know who we see as the potential buyers for this, but we want to know in the comment section if you guys can comment on who you think is the buyer or who might be interested in a project like this and what do they want. So we're looking at kind of what, not so much the sales prices, but what the monthly housing cost would be. Who are the people that you think can afford these? And we've been thinking of it in terms of, just to give examples, would be what types of professions, what are people doing, and what do you think from the community, who would be the person that would most likely be interested in a unit type of this nature? I am seeing silence in the chat box. What is going on? Teardrop, guys. Teardrop. Okay.
Getting later. I think
It's okay.
project manager, development real estate, Sophia.
Yep. Exactly. So when we look at our new teachers, they are potential candidates for this project. Um, it's open to people across different. Again, I've been hosting focus groups and really getting kind of just connecting with the neighborhood 2 years ago, last year, kind of walking through and asking people in the neighborhood kind of, what do they do, what are they interested in, what types of homes do they want, and it's a variety. I've had people who work in the nonprofit sector, who are community organizers, who are teachers, who, again, they're Amazon drivers, right? So it's a range of who can potentially own in this project.
And I think what's key for us is bringing these obviously figuring out who these folks are within Roxbury, and this is where you guys are definitely helpful. I know Ms. Braxton said her niece and her daughter. I think it's important for us. It's important for you guys to connect us with those folks because we're
Hmm.
committed to starting to help those folks now get ready. So as many, we'll share the contact information for us. Please give us the information to these folks. We're also hoping that whoever our lenders are will help us with the sort of wealth building activities as well, and we'll sponsor some of these activities where we help folks get ready. So we need you guys to send us as much people as possible now.
Yep.
Because Denisha said it's a long road and we're here for it. So we really
Yeah.
want to get people.
We I think the worst thing, and I see it all the time, is people wait until they see the project, like they see the walls go up and the building is kind of complete on the exterior, and then they have interest. And many times, especially because this is an affordable unit, so there's a lottery involved, there are firm deadlines. So we need to make sure that we prepare as many people, so that I want to exceed this 70% neighborhood preference, in that we can't have, well, I shouldn't say we can't have, but the preference is for 70%. And then in the general pool, there could be more people from Roxbury as well in there. But I want to know that at least 70% of the applicants for this project are people from Roxbury. And that's where we need you guys to kind of help us get the word out about the project and get as many people who might be interested into it, so we can ensure that as many Roxbury residents can stay in Roxbury. Some of our outreach, again, we're going to be communicating with a lot of the neighborhood associations, doing outreach to the local churches. We'll have the Roxbury specific campaign, and then we'll also have a Boston campaign, so that it's not people coming from Newton and other places trying to purchase in here, but really focusing on Boston, Roxbury residents. How many of you can we prepare for this opportunity? We'll have the home buyer preparation programming in place that starts this summer. It can start now, but we'll have the official programming up by the summer, and then really assisting you through the process. So it's not where we help you apply for the lottery and disappear. We're with you till you close. We're actually with you even after you close, to make sure you're satisfied and answering any of your questions and making sure you acclimate to home ownership, and helping people kind of through that process. Okay, so thank you guys so much for your time. You spent an hour and a half of your Monday night with us, and we truly, truly appreciate it. Here I have my contact information, and my cell phone number, so that you can email or call or text, to provide insight if you want to provide more feedback. If you have people who are interested in purchasing in this project, again, I think communication, open lines of communication is key, so that we make sure no one falls through the cracks. So we welcome you kind of just giving us feedback. We appreciate, I found a lot of value in tonight, and I really do thank you. The developer thanks you, Dariella, kind of for taking the time to provide this feedback, because we listen. um, and we will be kind of taking a look at this with the design team.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I know you could have been doing a million things on a Monday night.
Right? They stayed on the line for an hour and a half. So thank you. We're going to open up. Can you unmute the mic? Let's
Yep.
see how to do that. So people, if you want to provide just comments, you're more than welcome to.
I would like to say something. I live in the heart of Roxbury. This is exciting. I When I hear that you can purchase a home and you have Section 8, I think it's amazing. But I also want to know what systems will be in place to make sure that someone who does take advantage of that and is able to purchase a house if they have Section 8, they're not set up in a way to then lose their condo. And so what I mean by that is some people have Section 8, they're paying a large chunk of the Section 8, a large part of it, it's their part anyway. You see what I'm saying? But if someone who is not, most of the part is being paid by BHA, then you're setting them up for a situation they could be homeless then.
Yeah, so the person would still have to income qualify for the loan, which sort of safeguards from that situation happening, right? So they would have to meet those income requirements
Okay.
to qualify for the loan. But the Section 8 would provide sort of that leverage, that cushion as they transition. So that is helpful for them in terms of sustaining them and making sure that they don't fall into foreclosure. So it's sort of just like this added cushion. It's not that the Section 8 voucher is going to continue to subsidize them forever. They'll still have to work.
Yeah, so that's good to know, because as I pitched this to my niece who's in almost 30 years old and she's a hard worker, I wanted to know that picture there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just one of the audiences that we want to target, because we want to create pathways, right, for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, for the Section 8 program, they are provided the subsidy or the assistance for 15 years. So it actually builds in a window for them to have that. And we would assume within 15 years, they've been paying down on the mortgage. We have strategies to help people pay down their mortgage faster. So that would be part of one of our classes to kind of give them those tips and tricks, so that they could refinance or lower their monthly payments over time, right? So there are a lot of strategies in there that we can help people over time with kind of transitioning and long-term home ownership.
And in terms of the association as well, like our hope is to start them off with some sort of reserve that sets them up so that they start off on the right foot. And we're also building the project in a way that's sensitive to that, understanding that folks are going to have to manage this long term. So we're also taking that into consideration in terms of how we decide how we build and what products we use.
But
I have a question. I was late, so forgive me. So I didn't get the
No,
whole thing.
we
So I'm just
appreciate
trying.
you coming.
But I love this project. I wanna buy all the 9 yards. But I just want to know, like, so, um, the parking space, the condo fee, and the rent is all included when you buy. You don't have to pay an additional condo fee, or you do.
So there is a condo fee that you do have to pay each month. But when I did the monthly housing costs, I'm not sure if you saw that kind of what the breakdown was. So there's the mortgage, the big number, and then there's what does it cost you every month. That was inclusive of the condo fee.
Okay,
So
so
all of that was included
everything's
in the
in the
price,
condo.
right?
It's just one
So
price.
so correct.
But it is I got that. Okay, I like that.
There's a condo fee, correct?
All right, and then the Murphy bed, is that in all the apartments, or is that just in the studios?
Nope. So it's not included. It's something that we provided for people to see kind of what a creative option would be.
Oh, if we wanted to add
So
it,
if you wanted to add
so
it,
say like
so
I want a 1 bedroom, but then I want a Murphy bed. So if somebody came to visit, I could do that.
yep.
I
So
like that.
I saw a few people say that they like that. So my task, because of your feedback tonight, feedback helps, right? Is I'm going to go research Murphy bed companies and see what we can do. If they could come up with some sort of discount or package, if people say they want Murphy beds, what does that look like? So
Okay.
we will kind of get pricing to kind of help you guys figure all that stuff out.
All right. And so I'm getting ready to retire.
hmm
So you all got everything I need, the washer, dryer, all that, the parking space, which I needed underground, not on top. I already put my preface in. Um, so yeah, so I definitely want to apply to this. So I'm gonna be calling you all. So when do you have, you only start paying when, sorry, you all start paying when you
When you
enter the
take
lottery?
ownership. Nope.
Ah.
So once you take ownership, so it's for purchase. So once you buy, it becomes your property. Then you start
Right.
paying your
But I'm
mortgage.
saying, when do you start paying the money? When you, what, apply?
What
and then
money?
it get
Which
approved?
what funds are you just talking
Funds
about?
just for the house? Like,
Nope.
you are not looking for like a down payment now while you,
So you won't need anything now. It's once you, so not even through the lottery. It's once you make that reservation. So they select your name for the lottery and you say, yes, I want to buy this unit. Then you have to make, it's between $500 and $1,000 deposit with the city. And then at purchase and sale, so that's 6 months before closing, you'd have to make another deposit. And then at closing is kind of when you make the everything else, the balance.
all right.
So it's kind of broken down so that
Yeah.
you can save over time for it.
I'm good. So let me know.
Yes, ma'am. So you have my email address, you have my phone number. Feel free to email, text, call, and we will get this process started.
And I'll email you some questions, and then you can let me know what I need to do.
Absolutely.
I've taken a buyer's class before, but it expired, so I can do the.
We will figure it all out. Don't you worry.
Thank you, thank you. So I gotta go because see these people calling me. Still working. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
Ms. Braxton had also let us know that she could connect us to the Highland Highland Street neighborhood. So we definitely would want to have their contact info so that when we start sharing stuff, we can get that out to them as well.
I have Denisha's the invite. I can send it to that email.
Yes.
Okay, I'll send you contact names tonight.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I see someone talking, but you're muted. Angelina?
Goodness, that's probably why I couldn't jump in. Number one, Murphy beds are average $4,000 for good ones. So
Thank you.
So there you go. Throw that right into the number.
Thank you.
No problem. The second issue is really a lot of what Krisha was saying around, Section 8 folks, the ability to buy versus people who want to buy. I've been working in financial empowerment for over 14 years. So I understand that the financial coaching piece, not just the class piece, is going to be absolutely critical. And there is an opportunity there. I made a comment about CRA, local CRA dollars. There is an opportunity there if we're really serious about having Roxbury home ownership. We need to critically recognize that there's a difference between the people who would want to buy and the people who are able to buy.
Yes.
Because even going by Section 8 rents, right? Those people have only been able to rent. You will actually have to create a cushion of some sort and in order to make it possible for down payment assistance. That doesn't mean that residents should, walk in for free. Absolutely not. That I always believe there's some skin in the game that needs to happen, but that comes in with what they'll have to pay. Section 8 rents, once you get to a certain income level, you reach a cap where it can be kind of untenable if an emergency comes into that person's life. So if we're really serious about the gap between the MSA and how it affects the local Roxbury area, if we're really serious about the Section 8 folks or other folks who might be on that cusp, we need to think about those things and really think about how can we leverage CRA dollars to bridge the gap. And coaching is going to be critical. You can give someone a task list, but if there's not coaching, it's not going to work.
Correct. There's actually a lot of coaching and assistance built into Section 8. We're working with them now to kind of come up. They have some structure because they use I think it's called Compass Working. Yep. To host it. So making sure, again, they have seminars and sessions that they must attend. They have targets that they must reach. So they have a lot of coaching built in, and we're providing that extra layer as well, in addition to the home buyer courses. So I think there's a lot built in there. And again, we want to work with the community to try to figure out what else, from your perspective, do you see that we need to have in there to ensure that the Roxbury residents, that we maximize on the residents, so the 70%, but
Mhm.
also ensuring that they are not house poor, and that they can stay and sustain living in the community long term.
Right, because that cliff effect is real,
It's
and
real. It
it's
is.
very
That's
real.
true.
And you know, the challenge that I have is I'm not even a mile from you all. I'm literally 2 streets away from you, and I have not heard anything significant about this project. So I know you said you've been doing outreach for 2 years, but I've only heard a whisper about the project. I have not
Really.
heard, and I'm someone who's pretty engaged in this community. I'm
And
one of
I was door knocking.
I'm one of
Okay.
the community homeowners right here at the co-op, right around the corner from you. And I'm engaged in a lot of things around this community. I've only heard a whisper about this project, which is the reason why when I saw this focus group, I made it my point to be here. So I'm just respectfully saying the outreach may not be getting to the people that you may be thinking you're getting to.
No, yeah, we're gonna, so that was not in 2019, so 2018, but we will be kind of doing more direct communication with the associations so that they can help us get the word out in addition to door knocking and kind of trying to utilize what are all the other options. If people are on social media, what are the best ways to actually connect with people? Because when I was kind of doing outreach, I went and knocked on doors in Warren Gardens. I went and knocked on doors in all the neighboring streets to really get to speak to people and leaving pamphlets for them as well. If that's not useful, if people aren't receiving that information, then what other tools or what else can we do to get the information out?
Mhm.
Because again, we want to have this meet that 70% target. We want to exceed that.
No, no, and I
So
get
I
that.
will be definitely in contact. I think I have your contact information as a
Yeah,
result of
I'm
this.
not hard to reach. You can ask Linda, you can ask a few other people around here. Most of them have my
I
cell
got
phone
you.
numbers.
I will be in touch so we can come up with kind of a thorough plan.
Yeah.
Again, right now I'm kind of doing research with Section 8 to see what does that look like, integrating what pieces of the puzzle for when we're doing outreach, but we're also going to have that community component where we're speaking to all of the associations to figure out what, your residents, what is
Mhm.
the best way to have impact within your different associations and what we need to do. So that's kind of
Right.
why the official launch of the program is summer. So we're kind of using this time to put all of that together, have all those meetings.
Yeah, but respectfully, I think there was a comment that was quite right. If you came to us first, then you would have heard things like that setback is essential. Now that you're already this far into the development, you've already estimated in your perspective, you've already estimated your profit margin. And so that's the real problem with the setback, not the expense. The planning didn't happen with the right people so that you could properly project the cost. And now you're hitting your profit margin, which is the reason why you don't want to cut into the rock. Not because it's too expensive, it's the communication didn't happen with us early enough, because we, the people who drive down that street all the time, or even walk down the street with our children, would have told you that that orientation of that project needs to be further back, right? And we would have helped you make the right estimate so that now we wouldn't be getting into a fight in the development conversations about how much it would cost you, because we don't care how much it costs you, because it's just cutting into your developer's profit. That's not our problem. Our kids are our problem. And being able to navigate that street safely is our problem, because right now there is a huge traffic problem on that street as it's oriented already. You're adding 40 more units to that, to that area. That's going to be a problem for us.
No, thank you for that feedback. We did have quite a few meetings with Tommy's Rock and the associations around there at the kitchen table to kind of discuss all of this.
Mhm.
So we take everything into consideration, and we definitely thank you for your feedback on that. Any other comments, concerns, or questions? Again, we thank you guys because you could have been anywhere else tonight. I know there are quite a few meetings happening, so we thank you.
I put some feedback in the chat for you when you think about canvassing and getting out to, you should think of teachers. There's teachers, they teach at the Trotter, they teach at BLA, they live in Roxbury, they're renting, they don't want to rent, they own. So these are places that you go to and you talk to the teachers that are there. These are so easy. They're just, the schools are just sitting right there.
Mm-hmm. No, we've started kind of, and again, once we have those meetings with the different associations, we have kind of our proposed plan thus far. So
Mhm.
kind of our initial thoughts, and then we want to present that to the community to see how can we develop that even further, to make sure, again, I think we know general real estate development marketing, right? But you know the community. So what else do we need to do specific to your neighborhoods? So we definitely will be reaching out to you to kind of coordinate. So it's kind of neighborhood and neighborhood association specific in terms of the outreach.
Denisha, that's the last thing I want to say, because since you said, and we know community, I just can't help myself. Like, I'm not going to, I'm just going to piggyback, like the setting back of
Mhm.
you really need to go back to the table on that. Like, I mean, foot traffic, Roxbury, like I'm from, like, I can say this, like it needs to be set back.
Okay. Thank you. So we, again, everything that you guys, this is recorded, everything that you, all the feedback will be reviewed by the development team. And again, there will be more meetings um, in the future. So we definitely welcome the opportunity to kind of take this further.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to say, however, that even though we're pushing on this setback, this is something that the community has been talking about for a while, like actual affordable home ownership. So this project does come a lot closer than a lot of the things that I've seen. I think that if the developer is willing to be a bit more amenable to actually hearing the community and adjusting the long-term profit strategy, this would be really a win-win, if they were willing to be a little bit more patient in how they actually looked at actually collecting those profits. It's just the planning is a bit aggressive, and this reminds me of Bartlett when they didn't listen. And one of the first things they did is they came to us, and when we were at the board meeting, I was at the table. I took one look at that project. I said, "You're over leveraged," right? And guess what? Bartlett right now is a piece of a development and still looking for ways to be viable, right? All these years later. So there is something to be said for listening when we say we need to be a little bit more patient and understanding, or coming to the table a little bit better, because we know what happens. But
Yeah,
this is a good project. This is a good project. I do like
no,
it.
I definitely like Angelina, I hear you, and I will definitely go back to the table and see what we can do. It's with home ownership and with all the city and state funds that are leveraged, it's pretty much the profit is pretty much panned out. Like, there's a formula to all of development with city money, and it being fully affordable also has a lot of restraints for us. And
Mhm.
but we are like, it's part of what part of what me and Denisha want to do as part of this team is to continue to like have these conversations. And if we can't meet somewhere halfway, like, you fully understand why we couldn't go there. So I'm more than willing to continue to have these conversations one-on-one and as a community as well.
Mhm. Thank you.
And this will not be the last time you hear from us. This will be the first for the year of many. We'll put it that way. So this is our kickoff for 2021. And then you'll say, Denisha, stop reaching out to me. Like, it's a lot. But the goal is really we want to exceed that target. Again, in our minds, this is the project for Roxbury residents, and being intentional. Um, we've heard from kind of what was initially proposed and what people wanted to do before this developer became, kind of assigned or move forward with this project. And it was more market rate, and it was mostly rentals. And we believe as a team in home ownership and wealth creation. And we have a plan where it's not only do we want to help people be able to afford to live here, but how can we teach them on wealth strategies and putting them in the right position so that now they can leverage this to actually build wealth. What does that look like? So taking it beyond that basic conversation, but with action items and connecting them to the resources, connecting them to the professionals that they need, so that they can execute on this. So you said a lot of counseling and coaching. We have that, and we want to make sure that's built in. And it's not where it's me, it's who are the partners and the people in Roxbury, who are the professionals that can connect with people on a daily basis to make sure they accomplish their goals.
Yeah. Well, BHA Compass, they did match savings under Mass Leap. So you might want, and no, match savings is one of those things that are that's kind of falling off because it didn't have the staying power that they would hope it had. But, given that you have Berkshire, given that Compass Working Capital actually has a major player on their board who focuses on women and, and cultural empowerment, specifically around Black and Brown communities. I feel like if you tapped just a little bit into some of those partners, you would have those answers sooner than you think.
Yeah, no, and so just I think it was this week. It might have been yesterday, might have been today. I saw it today. The city partnered with Maha, where they are actually doing a savings match, where it's a 2-to-1 match. So it's up to $5,000 for people to say where they match them in savings. So that is a topic of conversation that's actually brought back up to the front of everyone's mind in terms of how to make that possible. So I know that is in the works. It's been launched with the city and Maha. I know for Section 8, they have it where it's if when you earn more, the difference in, let's say you started off and your portion of rent was $800 and now it's grown to $1,000, they're actually going to take that difference of 200 and place that into a savings account for that voucher holder. So there are a bunch of programs where that's built in already. So we're just trying, our job is to identify all of those and connect people to everything. So it's like, if you can be in Maha's program and you can be in this one, there's no conflict. How many pools can we get you into so you have as many resources as possible?
Right. Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. If there are no other questions or comments, we truly thank you. And until next time, you will receive a follow-up email with kind of next steps and kind of where we are. You'll also have progress updates on the project. We'll be building out the website, so you can check there as well for updates in terms of where we are, and then just outreach to make sure we can get as many people qualified for this as possible.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you.